Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our midweek show where we review India's tremendous performance against Zimbabwe. Also, we'll touch a little on the South Africa match versus West Indies, where South Africa hammered the Caribbeans. We're joined by Sudip, Ayan, and Ishanjan. First few minutes for the South Africa match, where South Africa kept India's hope alive by winning all the matches, and then, of course, India uh, plummeted the Zimbabweans. So, over to you, Ayan. Your take on that thumping win of South Africa?
So South Africa is absolutely the team in form. They are the team to beat now. They really, I mean, they absolutely, blasted out India. That was a remarkable performance. I mean, this kind of a home ground, India is a beast, and they just walloped India. And West Indies was a very interesting match because West Indies at one point of time was struggling at 83 for 7. And from there, they went on to make almost 180, 176 or something. And generally, in such cases where the team, the batting team has made a pretty good, almost splendid recovery, you would expect the second team, the chasing team to be a bit down morally. But that was absolutely not the case because South Africa, again, just exploded. I mean, they won the match in some 16 overs. So that is a fantastic bit of performance, right? So they are completely looking to be the team to beat in the tournament, as I said before. And I think on a good day, they probably, at the moment, in terms of pure playing form, I think they are the best. I mean, they are looking to be the best team around. I mean, against India, they managed to defend the total very, very successfully. Against the Windies, they were like hurricanes during their batting. They just, ran through the chase. West Indies, I would say, actually has showed a lot of guts because if you generally have, in a T20 match, if you see a team down at 83 for 7, then you would probably wonder whether they would even reach 120. From there, they've actually gone to 180 odd runs. I mean, that is a great display, right? And that
I
too
think that
because
was an at-par score at that ground. 175 is
absolutely,
the at-par. That was
absolutely.
the
So
at-par
I think,
score.
and you see Romario Shepherd. I mean, he's number 9. I mean, number 9 coming out and hitting a 37 ball 52. That is tremendous. I mean, Jason Holder, of course, he's an old timer, and I always have thought that Holder has a lot of class in him, and I think here he played wonderfully well because again when your team is down staring down the barrel, you coming out and really playing such an abrasive knock, I think that is quite brilliant. I mean, 31 ball 49, I mean, really counter attacking, and he was, I think, unfortunately run out. So if he had stayed, I think the Windies would have reached 200. Of course, it wouldn't have mattered probably because South Africa won it, in this 16
South
overs.
Africa, Ireland looks to be the favorite along with India.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
India, yeah, I mean, probably yes, but the way they
yeah,
fared against South Africa,
yeah.
hopefully they have had
So,
their worst performance on the day.
one final word from Oyon regarding West Indies getting hammered. Does it plummet their confidence, or you think they will take India full on at Eden?
See, West Indies has always been a completely uncertain team, right? I mean, they can come out and
Unpredictable also.
absolutely, completely unpredictable. They can on a good day they can hammer any bowling in this kind of this kind of format, and especially with small grounds with very very powerful hitters. Misits can go for 6, as we have seen in the IPL time and again from Russell et al. So, but here what I really liked is that they actually showed a lot of fighting spirit because at 80 for 7 you would think that most teams would surrender. On the other hand, they came out and they did not show any fear. And if they by chance, get India out first, I mean, if India bat first and they can get India for less than 160, I think India is in very, very big trouble. If they bat first and, Hetmeyer or Holder or any one of those get going and they get a 200 plus score, I would think India is again in trouble because India cantered home
I think
against
that is
Zimbabwe.
what we are also apprehending that in Eden, in March, especially with the dew factor, as Rajdeep said. I think if West Indies bats first and scores 200 is a big trouble.
Yeah, and especially see because Varun Chakravarti is really in bad form.
Bad
Clearly,
form.
because
Yes. Yeah,
again,
that is a
yeah, I
major,
mean,
major worry now.
absolutely, and I mean he got hammered against Zimbabwe as well. That is not acceptable. I mean, Zimbabwe played so easily. Can you believe it, Rahul? They were at one point of time they were
And
like what
because
140
India
for two.
scored 257 on, it looked a huge win, but they scored 170, almost 180. That's also a big score.
No, they scored more. They yeah 180 they scored and then that
Almost
was like
180, yeah,
very
170
good.
something.
I mean they again in the Indian bowling showed almost no penetration at all. I mean
Yeah.
very
So your
strangely
final
even
take before we review the India match, your final take on West Indies?
my final take is that I hope West Indies has a poor day because I do not have too much of confidence on this Indian team at the moment. They do
And the
not look
bowling.
a very spirited lot. Abhishek played well, but
Yeah,
again, I mean, he's not a player I would bet my life on if you're chasing 220 and if he's like hit and miss. I mean, you can
correct.
have him going bazooka, but then you can have him hit
Yeah,
two
he's a hit
sixes
and
and
miss
then get
player. He's
bowled.
a hit and miss player, yeah.
I mean that kind of confidence I still don't have in him, but I hope the Indian bowling, especially the spin attack, is looking very ordinary. So if that does not, find its mark, I think India, I would put this match to be maybe 55-45 to India, but not better than that
Yeah,
because West
so
Indies is in
I
pretty
think
good
we
form.
all basically conclude that although India hammered Zimbabwe, the West Indies match is going to be a difficult one.
I mean, Zimbabwe, if you did not hammer, then I would be shocked, right? I mean, come on. Zimbabwe, if you did not hammer
No, but
in
Zimbabwe,
India.
Zimbabwe belted out Australia. So I mean,
Australia lost 3-0 to Pakistan just before this.
uh,
They were
yeah,
completely taken apart
yeah.
by
Australia, I
Pakistan.
think, is on the down. We need to discuss that
Yeah,
on a
yeah, yeah.
separate
Very
show. Thanks,
badly,
Ayan.
very badly. Yeah.
We had a good short review with you. Sudip, your take on this very thumping win, India, Australia, India, Zimbabwe.
Well, the wicket was, played true to his character. The wicket was ball was coming onto the bat, and this is the
The
kind of
first thing
pitch.
before that, Sudip, toss. A lot of people are talking about the toss. Your take on the surprising Sikandar Raja
You know,
batting on
I
the
think there was
fielding
a
on the toss?
sort of, the Zimbabwean captain made a misjudgment, sort of thing. He was, I think, expecting a seaming track sort of thing. But here, the ball was not seaming that much, and the ball was coming onto the bat very well.
I think
And
it
that
was
is
a
where,
bad call. It was a
yeah,
real bad call.
that was a mistake. And this is a kind of wicket where, Indian batsman thrives on these kind of wickets. The ball was coming onto the bat, and
So do
Abhishek
you think,
Sharma,
Sudip,
what was
that
really,
by
it
losing
was a
the
bit,
toss,
yeah, tell me.
yeah, do you think losing the toss and asking India to bat, Zimbabwe lost the match there only by a
Yeah,
wrong call?
this was a kind of a wicket, where the ball, it was ball was coming onto the bat, and this is where Indian batsmen the strength lies on these kind of wickets. And what was refreshing, the Abhishek Sharma, he played, all along the ground, most of the shots, he was aerial shots were very few in numbers yesterday. If you see his innings, if you analyze his innings, there were few sixes and a few lofty shots, but even after reaching 50, he was trying to play all along the ground. So I think there was, something, some guidance, from the team management maybe, and this was definitely a mistake, on bowling first, on this kind of track.
So what do you think India's victory and thumping victory? You think it was a
See, we should
uh,
not read too much
good
into this,
victory after the harrowing loss against South Africa, or do you think it
Yeah,
was expected
yeah.
against Zimbabwe? But Zimbabwe having beaten, well, they were the unbeaten side also in that group.
Zimbabwe
So
also was having a dream run in the tournament. So in that context, if you see, it was a very comprehensive victory. But I won't read too much into it because
yes, that is what I was
at the
coming to.
at
Do
the
we
end,
read too much into this victory?
no, I won't read too much into it, because the kind of, actually, as Ayan very correctly pointed out, this Indian team is not giving me any confidence, actually. It's very
That you have
shaky.
said number of times that you
Yeah,
don't get any
it's
confidence from
it's
this team.
very, shaky, it looks very shaky, somehow, even yesterday's victory was very comprehensive, but against West Indies, and remember, it is an Eden Gardens wicket. It is not going to be so much batsman friendly. It is
Yes.
going to
Eden doesn't offer so much batting friendly pitches.
so it is going to be a bit dicey. The wicket is going to
That's
be
it.
in the evening,
And especially with the dew factor, which has
due
been
factor,
discussed a number of times, which you also discussed
and
along with Rajdeep.
I only hope that the weather is okay, because in the event of a tie, West Indies goes into the semi-finals, because they have a better
Oh, acha,
net run
event of
rate.
a tie, West Indies goes. Right, right.
Yeah,
Is
because
it
they
West
have
Indies goes
a better. So that is,
better run rate?
I also hope that at the end of the day, weather stays fine. So this is
Yeah,
it.
that is a
No, I
very critical
no, I
point.
think I think in T20 there is no room of tie. There will be one super over which the
No. If there
No,
is
there
decisive.
is
no
no super
match,
over.
no. If
There
there
is
is
no
no
super over in
match,
this
if there is no
World Cup.
match, then by the points will be
If
divided
there is
by
no match,
virtue of
Ishanjan, West Indies
NRS.
will go through because of net
West
run
Indies
rate.
will be. They have
There
a
is no
better
super over here.
run rate.
Is it?
If there is no
Yeah, yeah.
match, West
If
Indies
there is
goes through.
no
There is
match,
no
it
super
will the
over here.
points will be shared.
Because
And
I
Yeah.
remember the India Pakistan that first match in 2007 it was ended
No,
up
no,
in
no.
a
This is
super
a
over.
different rule. This is a different rule. West Indies will go through if there is no
West
match.
Indies will go
Sudip
through.
is right.
West Indies will go
There is
through.
no super over. There
Yeah.
is no super over in this tournament.
No. There is
In
a
the
super
knockout.
over. No.
There
Provided
is
there
a
is a
super over.
match. Provided there is a
Okay.
match. But if there is no
Provided there
match,
is a match. Okay,
yeah,
okay. If there is no
yeah.
match, then West Indies goes through.
West
Okay.
Indies go through.
Great,
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sudip.
that's
Thanks, Sudip.
if it ends in a tie in a match, then it will go in super over.
Yeah.
But if there is no match, then definitely West Indies goes.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
West
So,
Indies.
Ishanjan, my question to you, Varun Chakravarti's form, which Ayan had briefly touched upon, what do you think of it? Main bowler, a lot of people are banking on a Varun Chakravarti to bail India out, and he's not, he's not performing at all. Your take?
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, Varun Chakravarti is I find in the when the domestic season was on and even the India's this bilateral series was on, he was in a good shape and suddenly he is not looking in a good rhythm back in the World Cup. But I will say it's not that he's not in his good rhythm. Is a thing that there should be adequate support from the other end is also lacking in that part, because when he is bowling out, then either there are someone Shivam Dube or Hardik Pandya on the opposite end, they are leaking runs, or else there Aksar Patel is also not looking up to that extent that dangerous. Although whenever he comes into play, he definitely picks one or two wickets, same like Varun Chakravarti. Whether the thing is that he is not restraining runs, he is also leaking runs, Varun Chakravarti, which is major matter of concern. That Varun Chakravarti, what we know, he will pick up 2 3 wickets. Along with that, he will even restrain runs, but he is not restraining runs. He is leaking runs into this tournament. That is the major concern. But if I see into the contest last match, it was an absolutely placard. It's a blatant batting surface all around. But in the next match, Eden Garden is going to be very crucial, because I remember Varun Chakravarti is absolutely, because he's such a type of bowler. When he will he's that means he has got a good height. And you remember when Anil Kumble used to come, he's quite up to some, because he's not a good turner of the ball. Like same, you remember when Anil Kumble used to bowl, it's a drift. It's a that means wherever seaming wicket. You remember whenever seaming wicket comes into play, Anil Kumble used to be dangerous because he was not that good turner of the ball. Whenever there was the surface used to be spin friendly, Harbhajan Singh. It was Harbhajan Singh who used to get the wickets, who used to topple down the opponents. But whenever any slow wickets which favors bounce, Anil Kumble's action comes into play. The same I'm looking for in the next match in the Eden Gardens with Varun Chakravarti, because Eden Gardens, all we know is little bit of seaming. And in the next match, I hope the wicket doesn't be a blatant batting wicket, because in that case, India will be into big trouble. Because West Indies, if we see West Indies also a very good batting side, because they are such a team from number 1 to number 10, all batsmen can bat. All the players, even Shepard, even the last man
Yeah.
can also hit one or two sixes if they want. So in that case, there should be the surface should somewhat be little slow, which can, but it shouldn't be as that means seaming wicket altogether. Seaming wicket, the surface shouldn't be but it should the
Ishanjan,
we
I will
carries
come
the
back to you on this point. I'll just come back. Hold on, I'll come back to Ayan. Ishanjan touched upon a very good point. Lack of support. Shivam Dube and Hardik Pandya. Your take on Shivam Dube before I go back to Ishanjan again.
Shivam Dube was a disaster, absolute disaster. You know, there was a meme on Twitter I saw today where they showed these gully cricketers, this gully cricket happening, and this particular bowler bowling, so there is a wicket and there are two bricks kept on the sides of the wicket, for the wide marking. And there is this gully cricketer who's just bowling all over the place, much beyond that wide mark, because the guy is basically afraid of the batter. Okay, and that is exactly what Dube was doing. I mean, he was trying to hide from the Zimbabwe batter. I mean, he's doing this against Zimbabwe. 2 overs for 46 runs. I mean, this is one of the worst bowling performances I've seen for a very long time.
He will be someone who will, if we have to fall back on him, might be a trouble.
I mean, Rahul, he's trying to bowl wides against Zimbabwe. I mean, think of him bowling against Holder. And by the way, do you know West Indies played Zimbabwe in the group league? You know how much they scored? You have any
200.
idea how much?
No.
254. 254.
Yeah, 254. Yeah.
India scored 256. So that way, these are two teams completely at par. I mean, they also hammered the hell out of
West Indies
Zimbabwe.
is going to be a really tough
Yeah,
match.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I think Dube, India is really doing badly in that. I think
Dube
I
and
think
Varun Chakravarti, two bad, bad
no,
form.
Varun is bowling, yeah, but Dube is super bad. I mean, come on, if you have a guy going for 46 in 2 overs against Zimbabwe,
Very good
that
point. I'll
is
come back to
huge
thanks,
concerning.
Ayan. Yeah, I'll come back to Ishanjan. You carry on. So, what do you think? Ayan rightly pointed out. Now, do you think that Dube will have to play as a batter and you get one bowler in? What is your take in the Eden match? Because it is going to be a juicy pitch. Do you
yeah
think
yeah yeah
India, because Rinku will not play, so Tilak plays at 6. Do you think the same team goes as a winning team?
I don't think you need to tinker on the
Team.
first 11, because if ever Rinku comes back, because you don't, because the same the actually role which Rinku was fit into is can be done by Tilak Verma as well. And I like to see Tilak Verma in number 4 or 5 rather than number 3, because whenever he is coming into number 3 he is getting jitter. And is because number 3 is such a position where the ask is different, because the ask from there with the because he will come for, because that is the time when power play was on, and in the power play you need to score runs, and Ishan Kishan is the perfect one to play for the power play. The Sanju Samson, Abhishek Sharma, and Ishan Kishan, these three are the perfect top 3 batsmen. And if you see,
So,
then laterally comes Surya Kumar Yadav, Tilak Verma, Shivam Dube, and after
so
all,
you
Hardik
think the
Pandya, and
batting
even
order
Aksar can also.
finally, so batting order finally has found its merit.
Batting order has found its merit, and if you are already having 5 bowlers, 5 genuine bowlers with you, why you are need to look for the sixth option? In
Sixth
this say
option, correct.
in the among the 20 overs, you are having 8 overs where the two world's most number one fast bowler and number one spinners are into operation, Varun Chakravarti and Jasprit Bumrah. In Eden Gardens, I am saying again, I am hinting you one thing, that Varun Chakravarti overs, the 4 over spell of Varun Chakravarti, 4 over spell of Bumrah is going to be very crucial. Because if the wicket, if somewhat favors seam bowling, then Varun Chakravarti, these 4 overs are Varun Chakravarti, because as I was pointing out, he is not a good turner of the ball. If you say he requires the adequate drift, and if he gets in, he will just
Depends
it will
on
be very
how much
difficult to
wind
press him.
we will get and how whether India bowls first or bats first, as Ayan rightly said. I
And
think
even
it's
the
good for
due
India to
factor
bat
will come
first. I don't
into
know.
play. Even the due factor comes into play. It will be very. It's not going to be so easy to face Varun Chakravarti, because he knows this Eden Garden is his home ground, because he plays for KKR, and he plays for KKR. And even if he that means if India bowls also early, then these four, Jasprit Bumrah, and even if the seaming options come into play, Hardik Pandya, but Hardik Pandya, it can be a fatka as well as in bowling and batting. But
We'll come
Bumrah,
back to you,
Jasprit,
Ishanjan. Thank you so much. Sudip, do you think the batting order has finally struck merit?
See, I won't, as I said, earlier, I won't look too much into it because the Zimbabwe is comparatively a weaker team. So it will be very challenging, to face West Indies in Eden Gardens. So I won't look too much into it, but yes, this is the best batting order we can have under the circumstances. There is no other extra
I think
batsman
the
you can
forced
play.
exit of Rinku finally
Yeah, Rinku's
forced
father
Gambhir
has
to get Sanju. I think
father
Sanju should
has
have been
also
in this side.
Rinku's father has expired, so I don't think he will be
Expert. So
available. So
no,
he will
he'll
be
not be
available.
there. So
So
uh,
he won't be there. Yeah. So we
so
don't
what
have
is
any
your
extra
take as
batsman. This is the
yeah?
only
I think
option
the
we have.
team selection again has been faulty with
See,
As
one
I
I
less
will,
said,
batter.
as I
Yeah.
said,
I will say
Washington
you one thing.
Sundar should not be there. Would not
No,
have been there in the
I
team.
I don't think
Shreyas
it
Iyer.
will be too much effective playing Washington Sundar
No,
because
no.
the
No, I don't think Sundar will play. I don't
No, no,
think Sundar
Sundar
will
will
play.
not play. I'm not saying. I'm saying that Washington Sundar was a very bad selection in the
Bad
squad.
selection, terrible selection. I mean, you select a vice captain and drop him. I mean, terrible selection. So yes.
No, no, he should
So
not have been in the 15 rather. In fact,
correct.
Shreyas Iyer should have been.
I think
Shreyas Iyer
Shreyas Iyer should be in
should be.
T20 and ODI,
Yeah,
both sides.
yeah,
Should be
yeah.
in both the sides,
Absolutely,
which we
absolutely,
one
discussed during Asia Cup review with Rajdeep also.
absolutely. Yeah.
one
Sudip, what is
one
your
thing.
take on the bowling now? You briefly touched upon Varun. So do you think we start with Hardik or start with Varun against? If we bowl first at 6 o'clock, I think it's a sixth match, right? It's a sixth match. So if we with a due
7-2.
on 1st of March, there will be some due. Do you see Hardik bowling opening the bowling, or do you think Varun opening the bowling, Sudip?
I think Hardik will open. They won't. They will keep it. The Varun
So
maybe in the
Hardik and
third over.
Bumrah, you think Bumrah and Hardik will open?
No, Hardik and Arshdeep will open.
Arshdeep will open. Okay,
Arshdeep
okay.
will open.
But
Yeah.
Bumrah comes one down.
Bumrah one down and two down is Varun Chakravarti. Yeah.
Chakravarti. So you think that's the way it is going to be? Fair
Yeah, there
enough.
won't be
So
any change in the team, as I
so what
feel.
do you think before I go to Ayan finally? What do you think is India's strategy? Batting first or bowling first?
No, they
First
should
batting.
try,
What will
no,
be
no,
India's
they
strategy?
should try to bat first, because batting second is very difficult in Eden Gardens.
No, say if Zimbabwe wins the
Hmm.
toss and
No,
puts
Zimbabwe, no, West Indies, West Indies.
I'm sorry, West Indies wins the toss and themselves bat, then what happens?
Then nothing can be done. It's not in our hand. But provided if we win the toss, we should bat first and
And
set a
so if we
target.
win the toss, what is the total you are looking at to defend?
See, at least 190 to 200. It depends on the wicket also. So I'm not very sure how is the wicket, but at least
As Ayan
190
rightly
to
said, we
200.
saw against South Africa. I
Yeah.
think there is going to be
And
something for the bowler. It cannot be a batting pitch.
for a Eden track, I think 190 will be okay. 190.
We just need to flip and see the records at T20. I think Eden is around 180, if I'm not wrong. IPL high
180,
score is
180
about
is okay. 180 is a
190. You can just try
defendable total.
defendable.
Provided, the
See,
bowlers bowl well.
in
But,
a given day, Ishan
Shivam
Kishan
Dube is a must thing. He cannot be used at the sixth bowler. He is not just up to it. In 4 overs, you are not 2 overs, 46 runs against Zimbabwe and 2 overs, 32 runs against South Africa. So 4
So you're
overs,
basically
78
hitting
runs.
100, 70, almost 100 runs in 4
78
overs.
runs in 4 overs.
78 runs.
You
I think
can't
Shivam
you
Dube is
can't
going to
bowl
be a
him.
big headache
You can't bowl
because
him.
I will
it's
tell
a
one thing. Even for the sixth bowling, we have options like Abhishek Sharma and Tilak Verma.
Yeah.
They can rotate the arm for
we
two,
can
three
have
overs if
Abhishek,
you
but
wish,
that
sir.
is a
One
far-fetched
or two
option.
overs. Yeah,
Shivam
one or
Dube
two
as a
overs
field
taken.
bowler
Yeah,
is really turning
Disaster,
to
disaster,
be a cropper.
horrific, horrific, horrific.
And
disaster, absolute disaster.
which even Rajdeep said that between Hardik and Shivam, it has to be 6 overs. And I'm finding it very difficult. I think Akshar will bowl 4. Arshdeep, Bumrah and will bowl 4. So Hardik will have to bowl 4, which I don't think he should, given the fact that he's also a fulcrum of batting. So, Ayan, finally with you, the Zimbabwe match, of course, it was easy, canter. What do you think? What is the strategy India has if they bowl first?
See,
With an off form Varun and an off form Shivam Dube.
So what I see is in at the Eden Gardens, an average first inning score is 171. Was that what I've just checked out? And the lowest score defended has been 157 till
It's
now.
too high. Both are high.
Yeah. No one. So teams which have scored less than 150 basically have lost.
Lost.
Batting first, if you score less than 150, you lose. 157, whatever, 150. So
Yeah.
obviously India's strategy, if they bowl first, would be to keep the Windies less than 150, which is going to be mighty tough.
I'm just
Which
going
is
to.
going to
I
be
was
mighty
touching
tough.
that given by West Indies' performance, it is going to be tough because West
See,
Indies is scoring average 200. They're scoring 200
and
every
see
match almost.
what is really problematic for India. I mean, what has been encouraging for the Windies is that not only have they scored 250 against Zimbabwe, which is exactly what India has scored, they have been in very very good form as well. They have also played extremely well, batted extremely well when the chips were down. So when you're struggling at 83 for 7 in T20, a team scoring 176 is a fantastic recovery. So the fact that number
Yeah,
8 and
83 for
9,
7 to 177. Huge recovery.
176 is a great recovery,
That's a
right? So then that
tremendous
really
recovery.
shows that they are in extremely good batting form. So
And
if
against whom? Against whom? Against Maharaj?
against the
Against
best
NKT? Against Rabada? Against the
at the
best, perhaps
moment,
the best bowling attack in the world.
at the moment, the best performing bowling team in the T20 World Cup, no doubt. South
World Cup.
Africa is the best performing bowling team at the moment.
Correct.
And against them, West
Absolutely.
Indies were staring down the barrel, and in spite of that, managed to post a very competitive score. So,
Very, very competitive score.
if India do not get them out by 160, 170, that is the maximum I would give. I would be very uncomfortable if India had to chase anything more than 180. So and especially see, given that India is not appearing very confident. See the Zimbabwe match. Come on, Rahul. I mean, if that was really, I mean, this is not really a good check. I mean, the fact that Abhishek played well against
Sudip also
Zimbabwe,
said that
it is not
175.
really.
Yeah, I mean, you
I
give
mean,
away
if
180 to Zimbabwe in
it
a
is,
match.
yeah, exactly. So that is the thing. See, I would not give too many brownie points to India for having scored 250 against Zimbabwe. It's a good
Correct.
score. I
Same
mean,
here.
we would have
Yeah.
expected that.
But
They've
how
done
much you
well.
leak also is important. You leaked a
That is
lot.
exactly. See, because if India had got Zimbabwe for less than 143 or 144, India would have overtaken West Indies in the net run rate. They absolutely failed to do that. Absolutely failed to do that.
Absolutely.
They went to 184, right? And it's like almost 200 runs. So you're conceding 200 runs bowling second against the minnows of the tournament. I'm one of the minnows. That does not augur too
That
much of
is where
confidence about
I
your
think
bowling.
Ishanjan rightly said we also feel two main bowlers are out of form, which is
Two,
Varun
two
Chakravarti out of
names.
form is a problem.
No, Shivam Dube is not a main bowler, but Varun's thing is really a problem. I mean, he doesn't look, the ball is not coming out nicely from his, hand. I think that he's either bowling too short
That is, I
or
think,
he's
one of the
too full.
points I was about to ask you. The spin, I think, is not okay.
Now,
The
spin,
turn,
see,
the,
he's never such a great spinner as I think Ishanjan said, but what he is very good
yeah,
is that he has a fantastic top spinner, extremely good googly, and he
yeah,
has this
the
thing
googly is
of
also not
Actually, he
coming. The
bowls
googly is
his
right,
also
head.
not coming well.
right. So he's not getting the
He
typical,
bowls his
and he
head.
bowls and he bowls quite fast. So he's like a Kumble type of bowler, but Kumble
Googly type
had a
bowler.
lot of I mean, Kumble actually
He
had a
put
good
his
leg spinner as
brain
well.
into a bowling.
Varun Chakravarti, I don't see having a leg spinner at all. He's almost entirely a top spin googly bowler, but he has extremely good length, very good accuracy, very good line. That somehow has gone. He's bowling short, he's bowling long hops. Almost every over he has bowled in this tournament, he has bowled one long hop, and they are getting hammered because since he does not spin the ball so much, if he doesn't get his length correct and if he doesn't get his speed and accuracy correct, and if he doesn't put enough rotations on the ball, so the ball bounces a bit unevenly, because that is where he really, becomes quite a bit of a difficult bowler to handle, because his balls suddenly jump up, or they suddenly, they shoot very quickly. The top spinner fizzes down the track, extremely fast. He gets these LBWs and bolts and all. They're not just coming out of his hand. He's either bowling too full or too short, and he's getting hammered. I mean, Zimbabwe taking 35 or 4 overs is not what I would expect. And chasing 250, right? Because the batting team is under a lot of pressure chasing 250. And I
So
would have
finally,
thought that, I would
as
have
we
thought
close.
that India would have finished Zimbabwe off by 140. Instead of that, they were 185, right? 184 is a big score. Yeah, tell me.
So I'll go one by one. Ayan, what should India do batting first? Bowling too, we have understood. Batting first,
More
what should
than
India do?
200, more than 200 straight minimum score, part score. I would, unless you know the ball is really spinning or something, that is difficult to make out when West Indies bowls. But for to be
Remember,
sort of,
both the West Indian spinners are bowling extremely well. Both the
yeah,
spinners.
so that would be a sort of an. I mean, how much they get the ball to turn would be some kind of of a preview of later things to come. If the spinners bowl well, then Indian spinners are also there, Akshar and this guy Varun. So, but then the par score for India for me should be 200 because under in Eden is not a big ground. It's a smallish ground. These guys are very powerful,
No,
and I would say
square
that
is big.
India
Square
should
is big.
target more than 200, at least 200.
Yeah, big.
Not so much, Rahul. I measured. It's like 65 to 75 meters everywhere. It's not too much bigger ground at all. I mean, miss hits by 100 or will go for 6 all the time. So it's about the long field is about 65, 70 meters, and even the square field is about 75 at 80. Not 80. It's
Is it?
small.
Is
It's
it?
pretty
Because in
small.
our childhood, it used to be a huge ground of this square.
Yeah, we used to think always it's very long, but then
It's a
I
So,
huge
Arun,
sort
ground.
of,
your final
because
take before
Suddenly
we
it has.
close 220. I'm coming to Ishanjan one by one. 200 plus batting first.
yes,
Anyways,
yes. And batting second, bowling first, get West Indies below 155.
150. 220, 150. Fair enough. Sudip, what
Yeah.
does India get batting first? Final call.
Yeah, it should be near, as Oren said, 200, around 200. But I have, some doubts, because if the Eden wicket is very slow or on the slower slide, then 200 will be a bit difficult. Then we have to settle for 180, 185 maybe. That
We
could be the
lose
score.
matches at Eden. Remember, we lose test matches, we lose ODIs.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
do
yeah.
not win at Eden. That is a big record.
And
We do
Eden,
not win
I
at Eden
think
international matches.
Eden wickets are, slightly, it's not very batsman friendly, in ODIs
It
and
is
or T20s. So we should always target 200, but I have some doubts
200.
whether he can
And
do it
batting
actually because
and batting second, you saying, Ayan saying 150. You have
they
to
have
restrict
to
West Indies to
restrict. They
150.
have to restrict by within
And
155.
that is where I have a doubt. India can restrict West Indies to 150 is
Because
a doubt.
West Indies tailenders can bat, very well. Yesterday, as they
That is the
showed,
problem. As
that
Ayan
is the
rightly
problem.
said, number 10 is scoring
As
50.
our last three bowlers are absolute bunnies, but they are very
One
good
is, which
batsmen,
Ayan also said, 11,
Yeah,
7, and 8. So
yeah,
the
yeah.
last three is a huge problem. So we
Huge.
have problems. We
We
have
have a
problems.
lot of challenges going forward, in this
Ishanjan,
match.
finally we close with you. What India gets batting first and batting second? And I mean, how much does they restrict the West Indies?
See, West Indies is such a team which you can't predict. It's very unpredictable team. First of all, because they're as rightly pointed out by both of the sir that they are such a team that from 1 to 11 everyone can at least hit a six if they are willing. So in that cases, I will say any score which is 220 plus, India should try to play this in the same manner which they have planned for the Zimbabwe matches. They should even, I will say the India's first three, the Abhishek Sharma, Sanju Samson, and Ishan Kishan has to take the responsibility of scoring runs because India was being in jitter on the based on the fact that Tilak Verma used to come on number three, and he's not that sort of player who will look for always accelerate or scoring runs every time. He's a player of anchoring nature, who you that means at the end of the innings can take your pile up your score up to some extent. So in that cases, these three have to take the extra responsibility of scoring runs in the power play. This is the power play over which India have to target, and by the end of 6 overs, India's run should be more than 80. Then India can try to that means can attempt to score more than 230 plus, because that is very much crucial to in order to win matches for West Indies, because West Indies, you never know if the score looks around 55 for 7, then on also they have the capacity to turn around the
And
match.
if
But
and if
again,
West Indies
another
bats
thing,
first,
if
what do
depends,
India do?
they have to restrict the team more than less than 150. But given on the same, again I'm putting on the batting order of West Indies, every other if I see all the other taking into account, restricting this team less than 150 is a it is going to be indomitable task. So in that cases, again, while chasing the runs, again, the that means the top three has to take the responsibility. But in the same, I will point out another thing: neither of the West Indian batters are technically they are not so friendly. But Eden is such a ground where the that means you can't only simply ponder upon by accelerating runs. You need your technique also up to some extent. In that cases, how in up to that extent, how much this West Indies team can up to some extent bat, that's also a huge question. So in that case, India can restrict. There is a possibility India can restrict West Indies less than 150 because again I was pointing out two that 8 overs Bumrah, 4 overs for Bumrah, 4 overs for Varun Chakravarti is very crucial. Along with that, you can't forget the 4 overs from Arshdeep Singh also, because Arshdeep Singh
I
is the
think
one who
Arshdeep
is
is
going
going to be
to
a crucial
open
bowler
the
with his height and the ball coming into
crucial
the
factor.
right-hander.
Yeah, because he's the one who can drift the ball, and his swing also can play up to some because he's the biggest swinger of the ball. And even Aksar Patel, if you say again, I was pointing, Aksar is also such a bowler. He's not a because Eden doesn't poses you a question of facing spin. Eden is such a service which is a slow, which actually favors seaming bowling, slow seam bowling. In that cases, Aksar for over can also be going to be very crucial because whenever I have seen matches in Eden Gardens, Aksar Patel, Varun Chakravarti, these are the bowlers who are very crucial. In that aspect, I'm not finding any that means a slow seeming bowler from West Indies from that extent. In that, yes, I will say the match is tilted towards India 60-40 because neither of West Indies, although they are very good, that means hitting side, but they lack up to some that means class. In that cases, I will say try to restrict the team West Indies team by within 150 to 160. I don't think it would be a daunting task because if because in the later on that means while in the second innings, due factor can also come into play by keeping in mind. So I
So
think
we will
I'm
see
again
that.
pointing out the where whatever India either batting first or bowling first, the first three is going to be very crucial. Abhishek Sharma, Sanju Samson, and Ishan Kishan. Sanju, I am pointing out, even if he plays for 3 or 4 overs, can change the entire course of the match. Same like Ishan Kishan, four
Same for
five
Ishan.
overs, he can change the entire course of the match. Ishan Kishan also. Abhishek Sharma, three of them are such a type of player with 3 4 overs, they get an opportunity to play, they will change, they can change the course of the match. So based on these three players are very crucial. And by the time by the end of power play, India should be more than 80 runs. That is going to be the most critical factor, most crucial factors for India to win. That is the most crucial factors for the match. I
Thank
don't
you,
think West
Ishanjan.
Indies how much that means they will be able to score 80 odd runs in the power play given upon the our bowling like Arshdeep,
We don't
Bumrah.
know
I
that.
don't think in
We'll
the
need
power
to
play,
see. But one thing
yeah.
Ayan pointed out, West Indies is scoring almost 200 every match. Almost 200 every match they're scoring. So that is very important. They scored 254 against Zimbabwe. So on that note, I think the
But
final
again,
conclusion we draw is uh, batting first, India has to score 220 to be out of trouble. And if West Indies bowls first, bats first, restrict them to 150 because due factor and, of course, the very fact that India's bowling looks a little dicey. So, although the win against Zimbabwe was on expected lines and a very big win, our run rate is still below West Indies. We had a great chance of going ahead, but we could not. So there's little area of concern, and we hope that West Indies will be definitely checked and controlled in the very, which is a virtual knockout on the Sunday against West Indies at the Eden Gardens. So thank you, gentlemen, Sudip, Ayan, and Ishanjan. We've reviewed the match against Zimbabwe and also previewed the West Indies match, which is a quarterfinal, and we hope that India is going to win. And we'll come back again after first to discuss the. Hopefully, India will qualify for the semi-finals at Wankhede. Thank you and good night.